in telling us that the point represents the individual brother and the circle, the boundary line of his duty to God and man, and the two perpendicular parallel lines, the patron saints of the order, St. John the Evangelist and St. John the Baptist. But that this is not always its symbolic significance, we may collect from the true history of its connection with the phallus of the ancient mysteries. Now, you know what I mean when I talk about the phallus of the ancient mysteries. In sun worship, Rishi religion, the phallus was revered as the organ of reproduction, of resurrection, and the procreation of life, right? You know what I mean? Okay? The phallus, as I have already shown under the word, was known among the Egyptians, the symbol of expressing the male generative principle. We have seen that the phallus and the point within the circle come from the same source and must have been identical in significance. But the phallus was a symbol of reproduction, and the male regenerative principle, which by the ancients was supposed to be the sun, they looking to the creator and not to the creature and not to the creator, because by the sun's heat and light the earth was made prolific and its production was brought to maturity. The point within the circle was then originally the symbol of the sun, and as the lingam of India stood in the center of the luminette, so it stands within the center of the universe. You see, you're going into Hinduism, okay, as well, and Buddhism, because you see, in Masonry, Albert Pike says that Buddha was the first Masonic legislator. Okay? Center of the universe, typifying by the circle, impregnating and vivifying it with its heat, and thus the astronomers who had had been led to adopt the same figure as their symbol for the sun. Now, it is admitted that the lodge represents the world, or the universe, and the master and wardens within it represent the sun in its three positions. Thus, we arrive at the true interpretation of the Masonic symbol of the point within a circle. It is the same thing in under a different form as the master and warden of the lodge. The master and wardens are symbols of the sun. The lodge is the symbol of the universe, just as the point within the circle, just as the point is the symbol of the same sun, and the surrounding circle is the universe. Same Masonic authorities speak of another aspect of the Masonic God, namely the Luciferian doctrine. Now, if you look into the Egyptian Book of the Dead, you will see the symbol of the point within a circle. It's in their writings. And it refers to Ra or Osiris, the sun god, in their writings. It also, if it has strokes rising above the symbol of the point within the circle, it stands for the rising sun. If it has strokes below it, it stands for the setting sun. But it also stands for Ra, which is the ancient name of the sun god of Egypt, Ra, or the more modern name called Osiris. Okay. Now, let's look at something else. What the Lost Keys of Freemasonry by Manly Hall, page 48 states. When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is the proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mysteries of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he can step onward and upward, he must prove his ability to properly apply energy.
Gray half ton, lights on outside.
Pardon?
Little gray truck, lights are on outside.
You see, there's also an aspect of who is the Masonic God and also the Luciferian doctrine. Okay? And that's what Manly Hall writes about who Lucifer is. The energies of Lucifer are in the hands of a Mason. I'll read it to you again. That's from page 48 of The Lost Keys of Freemasonry by Manly Hall. When the Mason learns that the key to the warrior on the block is a proper application of the dynamo of living power, he has learned the mysteries of his craft. The seething energies of Lucifer are in his hands, and before he may step onward and upward, he must prove his ability to properly apply energy. Now, Albert Pike, in a speech to World Masonry in 1889, has quoted here from its source, and here's what it says. That which we must say to the crowd is, we worship a God, but it is the God that one adores without superstition. Now, what we're really talking about is the Masonic God, because if you worship the God of the Holy Bible, you're involved in superstition. That is going to enslave you. That's what they claim. Okay? To you, Sovereign Grand Inspector General, we say that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and the 30th degree. The Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates of the high degrees, maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Adonai, the God of the Christians, whose deeds prove his cruelty, perfidy, and hatred of men, barbarism, and repulsion for science, would Adonai and his priests culminate him? You see, this is a complete flip-flop. Understand what I'm talking about? Okay. Yes, Lucifer is God, and unfortunately, Adonai is God also. For the eternal law is that there is no light without shade, no beauty without ugliness, no white without black. For the absolute can only exist in two gods, as two gods. Dark being necessary for light to serve as its foil, as the pedestal is necessary to the statue and the brake to the locomotive. Thus, the theory of Satanism is a heresy, and the true and pure philosophical religion is the belief of Lucifer, equal to Adonai, but Lucifer, God of light and God of good, is struggling for humanity against Adonai, the God of darkness and evil. These were the instructions given to the 23rd Supreme Council of the World, Albert Pike, Grand Commander, Sovereign Pontiff of Universal Masonry, July 14, 1889. As recorded on page 558, and this is a French book, which De la Rive, La Femme, and some more French wording, but I can show it to you if you want to write it down in French. Now, you know, this is dualism. Light and dark, you know. That's the Luciferian doctrine. And you know, in the Masonic Lodge, there is a representation of that. The Master's Carpet. Now, in some lodges, it is already in the floor. There are black and white tiles with triangular pieces of tile alternate black and white around the border. And in the center of that is what you call the blazing star. There's a star in the center of it in the occultic position. Now, here's what I mean. Okay. If a star is inverted with the two horns upward, it becomes a pentagram. The occultic version of what the star was. Okay. And with the Eastern Star, you'll notice that on the five ladies that are involved in the representation of the Eastern Star on the floor of the Eastern Star are sitting in that configuration. they so-called represent the 5 heroines of the scriptures. Really, they only represent 4 because the 5th one they couldn't figure out. See, the guy who organized the ritual of the ritual of the Eastern Star made up one of them, made up Electa, because he said the story sounded so scriptural that we'll call it as being scriptural.